All right. Here we go, Ian. Good to have you on this show. I've known you for almost 12 years, I guess. And, the way I know Ian is a leader in healthcare professional, but mentor to me, to Fulcrum, and great coach for a lot of leaders at Fulcrum. So thank you for your friendship and alignment, Ian, and thank you to join our show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
What's your take on AI? Before you joined the course and now being inside the course, how do you see it pre and post?
I see it, Rajesh, and it's just personal opinion, right? There's a lot of people smarter than me who have probably more accurate predictions. But as I look at it, I believe what AI is going to do is exactly what e-commerce did at the beginning, where every business had to evaluate the role of e-commerce and what it meant to them, how they competed, whether they had a presence, to what degree they have a presence. It just fundamentally made every business look at how they go to market, how they compete, and how they achieve their objectives. And it was obviously changing, right? We went from all physical retail locations to brick and mortar to now, a lot of purely online organizations and e-commerce organizations. It literally changed the face of business. And I believe AI is going to do the same. I think it won't apply in the same way to every organization. Not every organization will adopt it in the same way, but you will have to recognize it. You'll have to understand how competitors use it, how it changes cost, how it changes pricing, how it changes accuracy. Prediction is getting commoditized. And so now it's going to be, how do you use that ability to create competitive advantage? And so I think it's going to be pretty powerful. It is definitely going to get progressively more ubiquitous. It's going to be everywhere. It already is in a large extent. It's just not, we don't always recognize it. And but between the computing power that's available through the cloud, it is quickly becoming commoditized, and organizations are going to figure out how to tap that to create better value for consumers.
That's powerful. So the way you compared it, it's going to become like e-commerce, the way it came into B2C and then to B2B. I think similarly, the complete business landscape will change with the power of data, right? So I fully agree with you. I think that's the data side of it. And what my little bit knowledge says that data, AI gives you the behavior based on the past data behavior, and data science is also about, you don't know about your business what you don't know, right?
Right.
So how do you monetize your data where you don't have any behavior and pattern from the past? Right. So I think those are the unknowns. If we find out, then we can make the world a better place to live and work, right? So apart from AI, do you see anything else coming into the market? And then my next question would be, apart from other technology, how do you see some of the example of AI in the healthcare sector, right? Because we are all going through this pandemic world, the drug discovery, the boosters. Does AI has any role to play in our daily lives?
Yeah, I mean, AI, of course, is where I see the biggest impact happening, which is why I wanted to become more familiar with it. Obviously, technology is progressing, even beyond AI, right? Whether it's low-code platforms, whether it's computing power in the cloud, whether it's microservices, right? There's a lot happening both architecturally and at the technology level. And it's happening very, very quickly, right? And so that's going to create challenges for legacy organizations as they try to compete with upstarts, right, who start in a stronger position. So I think there's a lot happening in that. But of all the things happening right now, I see AI and big data being still, it's been a little bit overhyped, right, because it's overly marketed. But what's happening under the hood and what's happening in narrow AI is pretty impressive and pretty significant and pretty impactful. And we're just getting started before we get into more general AI and even super AI in the future. And so a lot happening there. As far as what I'm seeing in healthcare, it is being adopted in healthcare. So a lot of like radiology, for example, and imaging now is read through AI. through computer vision. It's converted to data, and predictions are made about whether or not a condition is present in an image. So there's lots of applications being leveraged in healthcare around AI. There's a lot of data in healthcare, so there's a lot of opportunity.
Oh yeah, you rightly said that. A lot of data in healthcare, and you have a lot of compliance and governance and stuff like that. So AI is going to be very, very big out there. How do you still monetize it while you have to give the data privacy and follow all the governance and compliance rule, right? Across the world, that's also changing every day.
Yeah, it's changing. It's been actually in the works for the last 10 to 15 years. More and more I see in contracts a lot more language about who owns the data and who can use it and under what circumstances. And I'm sure it's true for Fulcrum as well in your contracts. Yeah. There's very specific, and increasingly, organizations recognize that data is powerful, right? That data is currency. And so they negotiate to, hold on to that and not give it away. And so, it creates for some challenges when it comes to innovation, right? If people lock up the data, then how do you innovate, right? And so it creates some challenges, but there's still a lot happening out there around data for sure.
So thank you, Ian, for having a great discussion, sharing your perspective, inspiring the audience. It's amazing to have always a great conversation with you, and you speak from heart and you bring great mind. So.
Buckle up, because there's high expectations in 2022.